What's up, y'all? Welcome back. 88 Fitness Live portion every Sunday morning, 06 Eastern Time. All right, today we're talking about why lift heavy to get huge. But first, updates. You probably saw my short, down to 212, steadily making progress. We're back on track. Got the vacation, got a little bump there, but right back on track. 212, 9 weeks ago, only 7 more pounds to lose, so
almost there.
rocking and rolling. Again, well, I did hurt a little bit this week, not gonna lie. Hungry and starting to hurt just a little, but it's part of the game.
I'm still doing good. I've got one more week in my off season, so I'm gonna enjoy it. And then it's go time, 20 weeks to the stage. I'm ready, I'm excited, so that's a good thing. Last night we were at the 2023 IPL Maryland State Championship. Team 88 did fantastic. We will definitely get all the placings and photos up, but I definitely got to give a shout out to our 88 sponsored athlete, Samantha Harris, who won her pro card last night in bikini.
Go,
so,
Sam.
woo-woo, go Sam.
Keep eye out in the community. I'm sure we'll be posting the pics and placings. Congratulations.
There's a lot. So
all the 88 athletes. There are quite a few, and quite a few won their pro cards.
Yeah, we're so excited.
Way to go, ladies. Way to go.
All right.
So, why lift heavy weights to get huge? I have a very simple answer, but I want to hear Camille's first.
I mean, so I'll start kind of scientific, then I'll work it back. I mean, as you continue to lift, you're going to have to continue to stimulate your neuromuscular system because it's going to adapt over time to the weight that you've been lifting. So in order to keep progressing forward and get huge, you have to keep providing that stimulus to your nervous system in order to get it to grow.
So in other words, as you get stronger, you got to keep getting stronger. Right?
There you go. So if you want to get huge, you got to lift huge.
All right. So my very simple answer, why you should lift heavy weights. It is the most efficient way to create muscle hypertrophy. Can you get muscle hypertrophy high reps? Yes. Is it as efficient as low reps? No. Check out my push-up video. Are push-ups effective? Yes, they are. But eventually you're going to be doing 500-600 push-ups to get muscle hypertrophy when you could just load up a barbell and do 10 reps.
Right.
You see the difference? You see how efficient that is? Anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, he makes a good point. If you're doing a lot of that high volume, I mean, it's going to be potentially damaging to your ligaments and joints and stuff over time. Whereas just doing an all-out heavy set might have been a little better for you anyway. I know I personally agree with that. I've tried doing higher volume type workouts and it just beats me up over time. I much rather go out and hit like one all-out set, of course, after warming up, and then I'm just done. Like the workout's so efficient, it's so quick, it's so effective. I mean, why not?
Yes, agreed. And I can tell you, a couple years back, I shied away from heavy weights. I was getting, I hurt my back, my joints were hurting a little bit, and I shied away. We'd be working out together, and she'd be doing the same weight. And I'm like, man, Camille, you're so strong. What the heck? And no, I was just kind of being a whip. Shying away, and the gains were not there.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute, because I think what was actually happening is we were still approaching it with a high volume flavor, but while trying to go heavy, and that's where I think it broke down because we weren't recovering.
Was trying to go heavy.
Okay, yeah,
I was shying away from the heavy weights, thinking, okay, I'm doing 30 reps because it's a drop set, so I'm going to start light and it'll burn at the end and I'll make gains, but that was completely off, completely wrong.
Yeah, I was trying to go heavy as I could and do 30 reps, and I just I was not progressing. I was not building muscle anymore. I was just tearing my body down.
So both personal experience, the high reps, the gains slowed down. Fast forward, started doing heavy again, getting into Mike Menser, reading Mike Menser, learning the high intensity style. The gains have been rolling in, a year and a half, almost 2 years now we've been doing that. I mean, compared to the high reps, the heavy weights are just blow them out of the water. I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah, and I know I was always worried about just injury, being like older athletes. You know, you don't want them, time down and stuff like that. But ever since I've been doing that for the last year and a half, I haven't had any significant injuries. In fact, I have far less than when I was doing higher volume workouts.
Yes. So I'm 46 years old, and I can tell you, and I'm glad you brought this up because I forgot about it. Your speed and agility go. They do. I don't have the speed and agility I used to have. Your strength will stick around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stronger now than I've ever been in my whole life, and you can continue strength and getting stronger all the way up into your mid to late 50s before your strength is going to go. So all you mature gentlemen that have lost some speed and agility, don't sweat it. Just make up for it in strength.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'm glad about that.
Yeah, I mean, and you kind of talked about speed and agility. It makes me think about, muscle force production and recruiting muscle fibers. And when you lift heavy, you have to recruit every fiber in whatever joint or area that you're working. And so you will pull in those fast twitch muscle fibers because your body says, oh gosh, this weight's so heavy. I have to recruit more and more to lift it up. And it's almost like this explosive movement within that heavy lift. And so that in itself leads to hypertrophy and building bigger muscles.
Absolutely. Very good point. Your muscle fibers fire in an all or nothing fashion. If you're not lifting a heavy enough weight to make it fire, it's not firing. If you're not firing all your muscle fibers, you're not making muscle hypertrophy.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of, your body tries to protect itself. So if it doesn't need to recruit all those fibers, it won't. But if you place the demand on it, it will. And that's kind of where you want to be for building muscle.
I think this is the big disconnect for most people. I've been in the industry forever. I see people come in, make gains 2 or 3 years, and then stale.
Right.
Literally for the next 10 years, they don't make any freaking gains. They're coming in 5-6 days a week to the gym. They're working out. They've made gains for 3 years, but then next 10 years, there's a disconnect. They aren't pushing themselves. They aren't going heavier. They're just doing the same stuff over and over and over, and they're not making any gains. They're coming in and getting a pump and doing volume, thinking they're going to make gains. If you're not doing an extra pound or an extra rep that you did prior, you just maintain it.
Right. Absolutely. I know with some of the women, they're just scared to lift heavy. They're like, I don't want to get big and bulky. But you know what? Lifting heavy helps burn fat. You're literally tearing down that muscle fiber and it's got to rebuild. What do you think it's rebuilding with? It's using and burning calories to repair itself. So, you're
getting bulky, women lifting it, that should have flew away in the 80s somewhere. Yeah. That was such a myth. It's still a myth. I can't believe it's still around. It's so ridiculous. You're not going to get bulky from lifting weights, ladies. Trust us. You're going to get toned and firm.
Yes. Which is usually the number one thing that clients ask me for, when they're trying to lose weight. They want that toned, firm look. Well, hey, you got to lift.
So pretty simple. I mean, you get anything else?
I don't. I think.
So very, very, I like to keep things simple. There's an acronym I learned in the Army, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't complicate it. The most efficient way to muscle hypertrophy is lifting heavy weights. Heavy's relative. So it's heavy to you, it's heavy. Lift your heavy weights.
Thank you, Raj. In addition to just building muscle, there's other benefits to lifting heavy too. As we age, we lose bone density. And so by lifting heavy, you can help prevent some of that bone loss over time. And again, I mentioned the joints and the ligaments and the tissue. Lifting healthy or heavy helps to strengthen that as well. And these are all things that as we age, we're going to need. And even if you're super young and you're not thinking about those things now, do your future self a favor and try to protect that as long as you can.
Yes. And lift smart. Warm up, like Camille said. Don't go out there and jerk the weights around. Lift them smooth. 2 seconds up, hold the squeeze, 2 seconds down. Perfect rep. Do it smart, but lift heavy. Do your most efficient way, lift heavy. Great question, Patrick. He says how many reps. So if you pay attention to some of our prior lives, we do a 6 to 10 rep scheme. So for example, if you're doing bench press, you do 225 for 6. The following week, you got to do 7. The following week after that, you got to do 8.
Yep.
The following week, 9. The following week, 10. Now you did 225 for 10.
Right.
Now we're going to go to 235 for 6. Next week, you do 7, 8, 9,
Right.
10. 245 for 6. And you keep progressively overloading like that. Great question, Patrick.
The only thing that I do slightly different is that if I'm kind of at that last phase where I'm going for the 10 reps, I will try to push it to 12 and see if that's possible. I won't just stop and say, oh, I got 10, good. I'll take it to absolute failure. But
good point. I mean, once you get your weight set, you're not going to go past 10.
Right.
It's hard to add that rep. I'm almost like
shaking,
dying to get that 10 because I want to drop it back down to 6. But if you do it right, and it takes a little while to get your weights right, a couple weeks. Don't sweat it in the beginning. It takes a couple weeks to get your weights set. Once they're set, you're adding that 1 rep, and it is a struggle to add that 1 rep.
Absolutely. I've been trying to post videos for you guys too. I know we recently did a bicep one, a tricep one. I'll have some more, and it is focused on, building muscle mass and then different techniques when you're, trying to get that 6 to 10 rep range and how you can pre-exhaust or post-exhaust to make it work for you. So good morning, Caesar. We see ya.
All right. So that's pretty much all I got. Keep it simple. Lift your heavy weights and make them gains, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys got any questions or want to see anything, leave us a comment. We'll get to it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for the comments. We appreciate each and every one of you. Try my best to lift heavy. Keep it up,
right.
man.
Keep lifting heavy.
15 years old, and he's lifting
That's
heavy.
Fantastic.
Keep it up. I wish I started at 15.
I know, right?
Good suggestion.
Yes.
We will get on that, Caesar. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.